Right from its announcement, it courted controversy. The U.S. warned that the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which will transport gas from Russia to Germany, could give Moscow too much leverage over Europe. With energy prices skyrocketing across the continent, Russia seemed to ride to its rescue, pledging to increase gas supplies. While that puts some at ease, are Washington's worries about Russia's growing influence coming true? Ludovica Brignola tells us more.
Operators of the controversial Nord Stream 2 pipeline from Russia to Germany have just started filling its lines with natural gas for testing, in the latest step that will push the Baltic Sea project to completion soon. The new pipeline, which will double Russia's existing export capacity to Europe, is still awaiting approval from Germany's energy regulator to become fully operational. But it's long created geopolitical tension in Europe and across the Atlantic.
Ми розглядаємо цей проєкт виключно через призму безпеки, вважаємо його небезпечною геополітичною зброєю.
The Nord Stream 2 pipeline will allow Russia to bypass Ukraine with its exports to Europe, with a former Soviet republic losing around $1.2 billion a year in transit fees from Russia. The new pipeline has divided Europe for years and has raised tensions between the bloc and Washington. Europe already imports 40% of all its natural gas needs from Russia and is currently dealing with an energy crisis that has seen prices skyrocket in the last month in anticipation of higher winter demand. Berlin also believes the pipeline will help Germany transition away from coal and nuclear energy. The US has reluctantly signed off on the agreement, but has warned it will sanction Moscow if the pipeline is used as a geopolitical weapon.
Well, I reiterated my concerns about Nord Stream 2. Chancellor Merkel and I are absolutely united in our conviction that Russia must not be allowed to use energy as a weapon to coerce or threaten its neighbors.
But critics say the agreement doesn't go far enough, and the new pipeline is still a thorn in the side of European and transatlantic ties. Ludovica Brignola, Straight Talk.
And to discuss what impact the Nord Stream 2 pipeline could have, joining me now from Berlin is Thomas O'Donnell. He is an energy and geopolitical analyst and lecturer at the Hertie School of Governance. And from London, Aura Sabadus. She is a journalist specializing in energy at Independent Commodity Intelligence Services. A warm welcome to you both. Welcome to Straight Talk. So, Thomas, what kind of an impact will Nord Stream 2 pipeline have on European politics as well as transatlantic relations?
Well, it's already had quite an impact. The chief aim of this pipeline from the Russian side is geopolitical, and also from the German side. Russia always sent about 40% of Europe's gas that's imported comes through, 80% of that came through Ukraine, the rest through Poland and Belarus. He doesn't want to do it anymore because he's at war with the country. He invaded the country, and he's been wanting to get the pipelines out of there for a long time, and the German government has cooperated. He wants to bring all this gas directly into Germany through the Baltic Sea and avoid any complexities so he can have freedom to do what he wants to do to reincorporate Ukraine and Belarus and so forth. So quite a bit. And this is why the Americans oppose it. They've opposed it for a long time, even before there was any American LNG to send. It doesn't have much to do with that at all.
Mm-hmm. Why has this project divided Europe for years, and now we know that it will become operational soon? What should Europe do moving forward, and how deep are the rifts among the European countries run as far as the Russian energy is concerned?
I would say there are a few reasons why this pipeline has been dividing Europe. Number one is a long-standing concern from Eastern European countries about Russia, and in particular Russian influence and methods of exerting influence over Europe, and in particular over these countries. And of course, in the middle of all this is Ukraine, which we all know Russia wants back in its sphere of influence. Number two, there are also concrete reasons why this pipeline is fiercely opposed. It's because Russia could increase its monopoly of routes going to Europe. Right now, the only pipeline that complies with European regulations, so the only European corridor complying with European regulations is the Ukrainian corridor.
Yes.
If all the transit is diverted to Nord Stream 2 from Ukraine, Europe and Nord Stream 2 is not subject to regulations. It will not be compliant. So Europe will not have control over it.
Thomas, do you agree? I mean, is this pipeline likely to undermine European energy security, and has Europe become too reliant on Russia?
They are very reliant, and they're going to remain very reliant. The question is the route that this gas comes for the foreseeable future. Will it come through Ukraine, where Putin is more constrained to behave if he wants to continue that? Or will it come through the Baltic Sea, where he has no constraints, and Germany will willingly take this and distribute it to Europe?
Mm-hmm.
That's the real question. He has another pipeline around the south of Europe, Turk Stream, that also has already decrease the amount of gas going through Ukraine. He intends to cut off the gas going through Ukraine, no matter what he says. This is what Russian officials have said for a long time. Now, the pipeline is connected. Nord Stream 2 is connected physically.
Yes.
He wants to put gas through it, and that has to go under EU rules, as my colleague here was saying, she was pointing out. This has to go through EU rules.
Yes.
And he wants to resist that. He's using the present gas crisis in Europe to say, connect the pipeline, and I can provide gas to Europe. Now, the question is whether he actually has the gas, and he wants to use this crisis that's taking place right now of high prices in Europe to rush this through without the approval of EU rules and the kind of protections that are needed. Mm-hmm. It would be better if it's never filled, but this is what's going on.
So, do you believe could an immediate certification of the pipeline by Germany's regulators cool gas prices in Europe, as Russian President Vladimir Putin suggested?
Well, if that happens, and that actually supports everybody's theory that this is a crisis made by Russia, and the unreasonably and unimaginably high prices that we've seen so far are actually of their making. So, this is a very good question. And going forward, the bigger question is whether Germany will, in fact, certify them. Now, we've seen the Advocate General Bobek coming out yesterday saying that Gazprom can actually challenge European rules that would have obliged it to comply. But we're still to see a resolution on this.
But I mean, all these discussions, Thomas, we know that some new EU lawmakers are questioning the pipeline's compliance with the EU laws. But how relevant it is to have such a discussion in the middle of winter and amid soaring prices? And how has this latest energy crisis exposed Europe's vulnerability in this respect?
As far as a lack of supply from Russia, that is completely artificial. Ukraine has much more transit capacity in the old Soviet-era pipelines than Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2 combined, and Turk Stream. If he wanted to, he could send Mr. Putin, Mr. Miller of Gazprom, could send all the gas they want, through all the gas they have available through Ukraine. There'd be no problem. This is a political, and he'd make a lot of money at the prices that are in Europe right now. And he could fill the storage in Europe, make a lot of money for winter. But he's not doing it. He's holding back, saying, if you let me put it through Nord Stream, I can solve the crisis. Reality is, for technical reasons, even if the EU caved and ignored their own rule of law and allowed him to do this, there's technical reasons he could only just start filling the pipeline slightly.
So, outgoing German Chancellor Angela Merkel said she had made clear to Moscow that Ukraine needs to remain a transit country of Russian gas beyond the expiry of a 5-year deal in 2024. Is this enough?
Well, you've got to ask yourself, where's the substance to these comments? Because on 1st of October, Ukraine actually lost its transit to Hungary. So, and absolutely no one made any fuss about it. I mean, from Germany or from the US, which obviously offered support and offered to raise alarm and to impose sanctions in case the transit is lost. So, Russia did this in Hungary, why would it not do it with Nord Stream 2 once it's operational, it comes in commercial operation, even though the contract ends in 2024, the transit contract through Ukraine ends in 2024?
So, Thomas, after many rounds of negotiations, Washington and Berlin have committed to imposing sanctions on Russia, as well as German countries. Should Moscow use the pipeline as a political weapon? I mean, how to decide if Russia is using this pipeline as a political weapon, and what is the red line here? What should be the red line?
Well, okay. You want some red lines. If he invades Ukraine, if he tries to take Mariupol. Now, I mean, just imagine this. Do you trust the German government and the SPD, whose former chancellor before Merkel is on the board of Gazprom and on the board of Rosneft? Do you trust him to implement the SPD now will have the chair with Scholz here, will be the chancellor. Do you trust them to say, oh, Putin's invaded Ukraine, he's cut off the gas through Ukraine, and this winter there's a shortage of gas in Europe. We're going to cut off another 55 or 110 BCM. He's got 2 pipelines that come to Germany, Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream. We're going to cut this off in solidarity. I really don't think the German government would do that. There's no way for the EU to force them to do this. This is, I would say this is posturing.
So, Ora, Turkey is also a big customer and transporter of Russian natural gas. The Turk Stream pipeline, which runs through the Black Sea, provides Turkey's needs, as well as Turkey acts as a transport hub to the Balkans. Can projects like these and future ones alleviate fears of dependency, especially in Europe?
Well, Turk Stream is a Russian pipeline at the end of the day, even though it crosses Turkish territory, and it's pretty much the same as Nord Stream. And in fact, if Nord Stream is compliant with EU regulations, then Turk Stream is probably even less than that. What Turkey could do, and it's very important, is to get its gas out from the Black Sea, to open up its borders and allow southern European countries to import gas from Turkey via LNG or Black Sea gas, and collaborate with all other countries in the region, including Ukraine, to facilitate the easy access of gas across the Trans-Balkan pipeline.
All right, Ora, Thomas, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk.